Think about your best friend and how they shop. It's vastly different than how you might shop online, and you both should never get the same cart reminder emails. That's where Instant AI takes over. In just the last few weeks, Instant's rolled out AI flows for over 300 brands. The momentum is crazy, and I've been talking on stage with Liam at the Q4 Summit and Grow New York about it nonstop. Here's why it works. Instant can immediately understand who's on your site and what all they've been looking at. The discount, the copy, the imagery, the on-site promotion, all of that's pulled dynamically into personal email flows. Then it sends it at the exact moment that the shopper is ready to buy. Don't let your retention emails stay old and lame. Check out Instant AI and start tripling your email revenue. Grab a demo by October 31st and get 50% off your first 60 days at instant.one/Sharma. All right, Liam. So you're back on the podcast. Today we're going to talk all things AI. And, AI has evolved so much. Everything from, I think the thing is like AI is not a product. It's a new tool that I think everybody has the opportunity to use. And I feel like those who do not figure out how to use it will find themselves being consumed from it. And so, yesterday we talked about AI at a conference as well. But, I guess before we go into all this, why don't you give a quick background of yourself at the intersection of AI? Why is it fun to have you on and talk all things AI?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me back. I mean, we've had an incredible podcast previously, and we've spoken on so many stages and together in your newsletter, etc. At this point, so thanks for having me back on. I mean, AI is if you're not adopting it in your business now, you're already behind. And one of my topics that I speak about on stage a lot is that if AI isn't driving at least 25% of your revenue today, whether it's across email, SMS, retention marketing, you're already failing. And I think that AI is still being spoken about, particularly in the world of e-commerce and brand founders, as a hypothetical. It's coming in the future. It's not here yet. It's really cool. Or people think they're using AI because they're addicted to ChatGPT.
Hmm.
But then there's this completely other side where AI is real. And if it's not such a big part of how you're thinking and the operations of your business today, you're already behind. So excited to cover some of that. In terms of Instant, I mean, started the company when I was 17. We work with thousands of brands today. Started the company when I was back in Australia. Now spending majority of my time in New York. And I think that we actually started as a shop pay competitor.
I didn't know
To
that till recently.
yeah, to Shopify.
Yeah.
That was our biggest product. We helped brands with one-click checkout, remembering their shoppers every time they came back to their website. And then eventually we decided that Shopify was the beast that we didn't really want to compete with. And so we used that technology of being able to remember a shopper every time they came back to your website and bring it into the marketing world, and help a marketer unlock their anonymous shoppers that are visiting their website. 98% of people that visit your website, you have absolutely no idea who they are. And so we uncovered a huge portion of that, enabling brands to trigger email marketing. And alongside that, I've been on the podcast before talking about audiences and instant audiences and helping brands unlock that channel. And that grew so quickly. Like that product, we went from 0 to like 500 brands in 10 months, which was wild. But out of that, and kind of where we started to invest in AI, was we were building all of these optimizers because across all of our portfolio of brands, email marketing was something that just had zero investment, hadn't been updated in a year, was seeing like declining results. And we built this tool that helped a brand optimize their flows and campaigns. And eventually we stood back and went, hang on, why don't we just do it all for you? We've already identified the problems with these emails. Why don't we just fix it with AI? And that's our biggest product today, Instant AI, which
Hmm.
helps brands to completely automate their email marketing from end to end.
And that's actually doing all the generative copy, pulling imagery in. Are you making these emails from scratch? Or are they just templates?
We make them from scratch for every brand. So it like we had a huge fashion brand in Australia, Fate the Label, similarly Karen Kane here in the US, Third Love. And they're all up and running in like 24 hours. They have a conversation with us and they're
Wow.
live 24 hours later. And the way we do it is you input the URL of your website, we connect your Shopify, And we basically analyze your website. So we look for your tone of voice based on the copy on your website. We pull all your brand colors, images, logos, and then we use that information to create one-to-one emails to every shopper. So every shopper receives a different email. No two shoppers receive the same email twice. And for those brands, what they saw in the last 3 months with their ordinary outdated flows, we generated for them in the last 30 days
Wow.
with Instant
Yeah,
AI. So it's pretty crazy.
I feel like there's so many flaws in the way that like the way email is handled today, right? Most brands will maybe have one person internally who's managing email, but like they're pretty
If you're
much,
lucky.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're pretty much drinking from the fire hose, trying to get the next campaign out. Managing a copywriter, a designer,
Mm.
putting it into Klaviyo. Maybe exporting audiences for the paid team, running reports because the Klaviyo reporting is not that great. Um, or you have an agency, and the agency's goal is to just churn out, a high volume of creative, but then they're not usually going back and looking at flows or updating campaigns or testing new dynamic blocks or figuring out, what A/B testing, layout works better than the other.
Sure.
And I mean, to your point too, like being able to pull from the site, you get a lot of other signals that you just can't do at scale, because those are one to many versus sounds like it's all one to one.
Exactly, and we a common misconception amongst agencies or brands when it comes to AI is stealing people's jobs. And it's just not true because it's never been possible before and it still isn't possible today for either an agency or a marketing manager to sit there and send a unique email to every shopper that abandons your site. And so it's not a war against, this mindset of being having no agencies in your business. There's still absolutely a place for them. However, emails that or attention marketing that is unique to every shopper that visits your website is it converts wildly better. And an example of this is today, every single retention flow that you get, no matter what website you get, will be, "Hey Nick, saw you abandon your cart.
Right.
Come back to purchase.
There's like
Here's
a
20%
standard
off."
playbook of
It's
six
a standard,
emails.
and everyone just goes delete,
Right.
delete, delete. Never has any cut through. Um,
No discount, no discount, 10%, 50%, 20%.
right, because that's all that's available.
Right.
Whereas now, and like one of our really large brands, July Luggage, you go on their website, and rather than it saying well, basically any brand that uses Instant AI, there's thousands of them now. Um, it starts to pull in copy into those emails, like the name of the shopper, the item that they viewed. Maybe for the luggage, it's reminding the shopper. It might say like, "Come back and check out the pistachio dark green travel case. This is your perfect travel case for your next trip. 30, blah 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 liters. Um, free shipping." Like the emails auto update based on the updates that you make to your website as well.
Mhm.
So sometimes you're doing free shipping. And so that copy is automatically injected into the
It's
emails.
like an agent is constantly going, reviewing the site,
So
almost
your
like an
emails are always up to date to
yeah,
best
and
convert.
like somebody's sitting on the site watching this viewer come in, see what they're doing, and then tailors the content basically just to them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very hard to explain like on a podcast.
Yeah,
It's such a visual product. But
totally.
when you see
I
it,
mean, for me, the whole instant thing was visual. Like when I saw the demo,
yeah.
that's when I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
And then the revenue results just back it up as well.
Right.
And that's what I think excites brands and us most.
Yeah, I mean, we see usually like a 2x base or double lift.
Mm,
Um, but what do you think are like, there's been all these Shopify SaaS companies that have been doing AI and personalization for years.
sure.
What do you think is actually now possible with AI, whether it's generative or, in the personalization world that wasn't possible a couple years ago?
I think copy personalization really is just the surface.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of companies, a lot of opportunity with copy generation to really increase conversion. If you're not using AI to generate copy, unique copy to every single shopper, no two shoppers should receive the same email twice. You're not doing that today. You are
Cooked.
already you're yeah. I mean you are so far behind. It's crazy. And the brands that invest in that early, are the ones that are clearly winning. But there's also so much other opportunity that really moves the needle. Like one of our biggest features today is smart coupons. Ordinarily, it's the standard to do kind of what you mentioned before. All right, every shopper gets 10% off, no matter
Right.
their behavior, no matter their shopping history, no matter the time of day. Whereas now a brand can set a minimum order value and a maximum percentage and let the AI do everything in between. Some shoppers will get 12% off, some shoppers will get 10% off, some shoppers will get 0% off, some will get 20% off. On every shopper gets a unique discount based on the minimum percentage that the AI thinks to convert that shopper. And so you're converting more shoppers. You're also protecting margin and profitability as well in a completely automated way. Another really cool thing with AI is send time optimization in your emails today. Like if you look at any report across the internet, any case study, any downloadable, any email that these SaaS companies put in your email inbox, the number one thing that they always say is to send emails 2 hours after a shopper abandons their cart.
Mhm.
And the reason why they say that is because there's just no alternative. I mean, what's the alternative, right? And however, today you should be sending emails based on when that particular shopper is most likely to convert. Not a blanket rule, 2 hours to everyone. Like Nick, he loves shopping at 10 p.m. at night when he's lying in bed. So let's send him an email then to remind him to purchase. This really busy mom, she really loves to purchase at 8 p.m. at night when the kids have gone to bed. And so based on her previous shopping behavior, let's send her an email then
Mhm.
versus just two
It's
hours
almost like
after the
having
event.
like a little team of agents, and they basically sit on your site, and they see somebody come in, they get the email, or they figure out who the person is. They try to connect them with an email. Then they watch what they do on the site, and then they figure out what they know about this person from before, and then they craft a personal email and they fire it off. Except that
Exactly.
happens in like what, 30 seconds?
Easily.
Yeah.
And even down to the subject line, uh, again, like you can have all these little features, but it's never been worth a marketing manager's time to sit there and go, shit, what is the subject line that is best going to convert? And what happens is a marketing manager will sit there once and they'll craft the subject line. And that's the subject line that they stick to for
Right.
forever.
Totally.
Whereas these AI agents now just consistently experiment with the best subject lines. The subject lines consistently change based on the time of day of that shopper, consistently change based on the sale that's running on your website. If you're running a birthday sale, that subject line now includes it. You get rid of
Mhm.
that birthday sale and now have free shipping. It
It's
includes
a lot of
that.
like micro optimizations that you can now make because the technology enables it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the biggest feedback we get from brands is, all right, email marketing is 20 to 30% of our business. Basically, nobody spends any time on it. And I think the biggest reason for that is because honestly, if you look back, what innovation has there been in email for the last decade?
Mhm.
It's been the same advice, the same percentage of your revenue for decades. And so I don't think it's a matter of brands not wanting to invest in the innovation of email. There's just been no innovation,
Yeah,
whereas that
agreed.
has changed a lot now.
There's been some innovation I feel on the SMS side, but there's been very little on the email side.
Yep.
And also there's been no well, I mean, also, yeah, it's just I don't know why there's been no innovation, to be
Mm,
honest.
mm.
I think there's a few players in the space that are just happy with being wherever they're at right now, maybe.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that brands that if a brand could increase their revenue from email, they would be ecstatic because it hasn't moved in forever.
Yeah, and it won't
Um,
cost them anything.
you're already getting these shoppers to your website, so you're already
Right.
spending a shitload of money in meta ads to get these people to your website in the first place. They're landing there. You may as well be targeting them to bring them back.
Yeah, totally.
If you can increase the amount of shoppers that are identified on your website and increase or improve the emails that are going out to bring these shoppers back to convert, you win.
Totally.
And like I think the revenue results just speak for it. I mean, one of the brands that we work with is Higher Dose, right?
Yeah,
Like what was their
3x in 60 days.
yeah, crazy.
More than 3x. But yeah, nuts.
Yeah.
And from I mean, relatively simple or relatively low time investment.
Mm.
Where do you think AI is finding itself in other places in the marketing stack?
I think that
Like,
Um,
do you think the same way that you're able to generate emails on the fly based on the signals or data points you grab immediately? Like, when is that coming to a landing page where as soon as you know Instant identifies you're the person coming to the landing page,
mm,
it immediately builds the page?
I think that stuff is coming. I really do. I think that today we definitely focus on kind of the retention piece. But where I really see AI going most when it comes to marketing is what I was just speaking about around these really consistent optimization, consistent experiments.
Mhm.
And one of our biggest features is called Instant Labs. And it's just, unless you're a brand that is willing to sit there and do these, really frustrating A/B tests, testing two things at a time,
Yeah, waiting for 2 weeks.
nobody's interested.
Yeah.
And then you do the experiment, and it's like, well, of course, it generated more revenue because of the time of year, and so it's just so hard to get an accurate answer, and so you just stop doing it. And the brands that need to do this most are either really big brands that have so much internal complexity, or really small brands who just don't have the manpower. And so I think AI now gives a brand the ability to do these micro optimizations consistently without any human involvement. Consistently figuring out the best subject line formula. We spoke about this on
Yeah.
stage yesterday, where a women's fashion brand we see having an emoji, the shopper's first name, comma, and the name of the product being the best winning formula in terms of a subject line. But that subject line formula significantly changes during Black Friday, Cyber Monday,
Right.
which significantly changes to a store that heavily focuses on men's products, or it has a different persona.
Mhm.
And so these micro optimizations on a store by store front is very interesting, rather than these blanket, I guess, blanket rules or advice across the entire industry.
Yeah. Brands like Third Love, Liquid IV, and Neurogum all swear by Instant. They've tripled their email revenue, and some like Karen Kane even saw a 5x increase. They've been able to do this with AI because they can build hundreds of versions you'll never have time to make with Instant AI. While you run your business, it'll figure out what works and then continuously optimize to keep conversions growing. Don't get left behind while everyone else goes AI. Grab a demo by October 31st and get 50% off your first 60 days at instant.one/Sharma. Go crush BFCM. If somebody wanted to, you know, we've basically evolved from the generative AI to the agentic AI.
Mhm.
If somebody wanted to start using these, building agents, and, everybody talks about getting agents to replace routine tasks, even if it's something as simple as, generating a report about email performance for the last 30 days, or analyzing that and giving opportunities to do better. How can people start with building things like this?
It's interesting. I think that I mean, so many tools out there now, like Lovable, Replit,
Yeah, the vibe coding
etc.,
stuff.
where you can really start to experiment with different tools. And I guess we're still in the phase where people are learning, where I think that if you're not learning or becoming very sharp on AI, it's basically you're becoming illiterate.
Yeah.
And if you're not adopting it into your business, or as a leader, you're not pushing people in the business to adopt AI, you're already behind. I think that's the biggest thing that talking to merchants today, it's always the senior leader in the company that is pushing back, because maybe they're scared of it, they don't understand it, they don't experiment with it. And so it's all of a sudden the leaders of these businesses actually holding the business back.
Hmm.
And so I think, using those types of tools, there's also so many other tools out there, like analytics platforms, are really starting to bring AI into the business. Shopify is heavily leaning into AI if you're not using those tools,
Yeah, with Sidekick and
which is
whatnot.
huge, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like a few years ago I was getting called into the boardrooms of Tom Ford, Diageo, Bacardi, and these guys were like, "We don't know anything about direct to consumer.
yeah.
We need you to come teach us." and maybe like we hire you to basically educate our whole staff on how this works and, do an audit of what we're doing wrong and what we need to change. I feel like that same type of wave is about to hit on the AI side
Mm.
as a lot of these like senior leaders are like, yeah, we don't use AI, and they're reporting that up, and the board's like, what the fuck do you mean you don't use AI?
Yeah. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Have
Um,
you gotten calls like that? I feel like you're like the person to call for that.
a huge. We always lean into. I mean, we have so many features across AI now that it's hard to jump on a podcast or a particular piece of content and explain it all.
Yeah.
And so I think that we get so many. Yeah, I mean, we had 300 brands in the last 6 weeks alone
Wow.
move to instant AI, which is crazy. And a big push for that is not the hardcore sales. You need this, you need this. Like, we don't cold call anyone. It's brands coming to us going, "Whoa, we just received this wildly unique email from another brand that I was shopping on. We need that on our site."
Hmm.
Or I was at this dinner with X brand last night, and they said that they'd 3 times their revenue on email. Unheard of. Haven't focused on email in years. We need instant.
Hmm.
And so I think there's word of mouth amongst AI tools. You should only follow, adopting an AI tool if you hear about it organically because they're the best ones.
Yeah, I agree. There's a
Um,
lot of apps or a lot of advertising garbage in the AI world.
Absolutely, and look at the quality of brands using them as well. I mean, there's plenty of brands that, and I think this is going to be the real shift over the next 6 months, is seeing where individuals, businesses, D2C brands, what tools become very sticky. I mean, you look on Twitter, X, and majority of these AI tools are like, yeah, we've gone from 0 to $100 million of revenue in 6-12 months.
Hmm.
Um, I think that a lot of that will be very, interesting to see if those businesses actually
I feel
run
like
at that scale.
if they scaled that fast, it's gonna be easy for more people to just replicate that and do it themselves.
Whereas the really good tools, I think will start to pop up over the next 6 to 12 months, where
Yeah.
these really large businesses are relying on it to run their majority of their revenue. And today, a brand that uses Instant AI, we are accountable for about 20 to 30% of their entire revenue, their site revenue,
Wow.
driving that. And so, it's not these. I would be looking for. There's plenty of tools out there that, can drive like 2% of your revenue, 3% of your revenue is a nice to have, charging you thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah,
But you need to look for those tools that are like, straight in, and really moving the needle on your business.
totally. Where do you think like CMOs today can spend time incorporating AI?
I think that I would be focused on incorporating AI so I can focus on the most important things in the business. For example, there's been lots of innovation in SMS marketing. Like AI should be running your SMS marketing today. There's a lot of innovation in retention experimentation. AI should be your experimentation agent today. There should not be a single person in your business that is doing one-to-one A/B tests and experimentation. AI should be doing that. There is, in terms of email marketing, AI should be running your email marketing from a retention perspective almost entirely. A human should be going in and maybe having a small part of creative control to make sure it's on brand.
Hmm.
Maybe adding some things to a
Have you played
campaign.
much with Nano Banana?
I haven't.
No.
No. What is it?
It's Google's one of Google's like image video models.
Okay.
Um, does a phenomenal job of removing things, swapping products out. I mean, there's a couple of GLP-1 brands that I'm aware of that their best ads across the ad account where they're spending, 100 to $200,000 a day
Mm,
are videos of women holding products or taking something out of a box. It's all made by Google,
mm.
using renders and like stock video and then putting them together
So good. And I think, I mean, the image generation was something that was behind for,
for a long time.
for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time in this world is like 4 months though.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's world class.
Yeah,
And so if you're wasting all this time on things that could be automated and not spending your human time on, all right, what influencer are we working with next? What in real life event are we putting together? Creating, doing photography in real life, and maybe designing certain campaigns. If you're not spending your human time on that, and you're spending your human time on things that could be automated, you're behind. And we work
agreed.
with incredible brands like Neurogum, Third Love, Karen Kane, Liquid IV, and the number one thing that I look at across those brands and why they're so successful is because they are just so keen on experimentation. They are so obsessed with experimentation. AI, yep, we're in. We're going to trial it. And they get rid of things just as quickly as they bring them in, but that's fine because they're just experimenting consistently to grow their revenue.
Right.
That's why they win.
Yeah, totally. As
The
like a
brands that are behind are the brands that are just waiting, waiting,
yeah,
waiting, waiting. They're
totally.
they're too scared to be
They're waiting for the
first.
next tool to kind of do it all for them.
You're already behind.
But yeah, by the time they get on that, also I think another problem is like I think a lot of times about like I always say modern day media buyers on ad platforms have no idea about that like gut feeling when something's about to rip. And it's because they never used the power editor back in the day where you had to feel it out a lot more
Mm,
before you got the more condensed version of it.
sure.
And I think the same thing goes with AI. If you're not kind of like in it as it's evolving, you're going to miss out on what the parameters are or what the inputs are or what the outputs can be,
Mm,
and you're not going to know how to maximize the use case of it. You'll just be confined to whatever it's delivered to you in.
for sure. I
Yeah.
agree completely.
As a founder who's building in the world of AI, so like you're probably building, I mean, you just said 4 months is a long time. So like whatever you're building now that's coming out in a month or 2 months or 6 months, like what are you seeing that's not even out yet that is exciting or cool coming?
I think what I'm seeing is that it's becoming apparent that personalization on the surface level is no longer just someone's first name. I mean, that's been around forever. It's no longer, and now we've kind of moved into personalization being product based, and very particular things about that specific brand, that shopper's previous behavior. I think now we're going into kind of the tier 3 of personalization that's coming over the next 2 or 3 months, particularly on our front, where it's really taking into account more of that shopper's previous behavior. It's really taking into account how what that shopper interacts with.
Do you think like data sources are going to become like do you think that somebody's going to have a business where all they do is sell data about shoppers to companies so that their generative AI is much more targeted and on point? Like, do you think like in some world, instant
No, I think that the brand needs to, that's the number one thing that I think needs to stay with the brand to own.
mhm.
Because I think it's just a dangerous world if people are not compliant with data. Like, it's so important to be compliant when it comes to data. And I think the rules around, having an opted in shopper is important, and it will be important increasingly as we go into this world of personalization. Otherwise, it becomes super creepy.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's like a fine line balance between creepy and, all right, this is a cool email. This, I feel, special. This is on point. A
I
shopper
think too the
engages
less
with it.
personalized the email is, the more creepy it is. Like from my experience, running Instant, but also other companies like it, the creepiness comes when the content is not personalized and
Mhm.
it's just a generic. You left this in your cart. You left this on the site. PayPal used to do this one that was like they'd give you a $5 coupon and then they would take an affiliate fee if somebody used that.
Right.
And people found that so creepy because it was like within 45 seconds of leaving the site, you get this generic email.
Sure.
But I think when you have the content so personalized and like you said, you can use buyer behavior to generate content in a way that that person is going to understand and consume the best,
Mm.
you lose the creepiness factor.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it just forces brands now to be more curious, more conscious of, all right, if we need an opted in shopper and we don't want to be creepy, we need to find new ways to collect this data
Mhm.
properly. And so, there's so much opportunity again with AI around looking at a shopper's behavior to simply display a pop-up at the right moment. You land on most Shopify stores today and you get that annoying pop-up as soon as you're trying to load the website, and almost every shopper
Totally.
exits out of it. And then when they're finally ready to purchase, they're like, "Oh, where was that 20% pop-up? Like,
Yeah.
I'm ready now." And so displaying that pop-up using behavior about that shopper and consistent learning to display that pop-up at the right moment when that shopper is most likely to either purchase or not purchase has astronomical increases in conversion, but also astronomical increases in uh, collecting that opted-in shopper's information.
Right.
There's so much to do. I think brands should focus on looking at their website as a funnel where AI should be powering basically everything from that shopper first landing on their website all the way through to converting. And top of the funnel is displaying the pop-up at the right moment to collect more information. The second phase of that is sending the right email at the right time using things like smart coupons and send time optimization. And then the third part of that is crafting a unique email to that shopper in a very personalized way that engages with them. And so if you look at it as a funnel, you can see, all right, we're increasing identification. That means we're able to send more emails. Let's send that email at the right time. And by sending that email at the right time in a very unique way, you significantly increase results. And so
Totally.
it's not one thing, but AI can do all of it.
Right. I'm curious, like in your own personal life, do you use AI a lot? Do you use Chat GPT to ask questions?
Absolutely. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that who uses Google now, really?
Yeah.
Although if you do use Google, they have a really good summary at the top
At the
now,
top.
which
Yep.
I
Gemini.
kind of like.
Yeah.
But yes, I do use. I mean, ChatGPT is the simplest version of using AI, but we on the other front of being 4 months ahead or 4 months behind with AI, we significantly invest in product and engineering. I mean, we triple our product and engineering team almost every quarter this year,
Wow.
which is wild. And I look at us compared to other SaaS companies, and sure, you can have the best marketing and the best sales. But in our world, if you're not investing in product and engineering significantly, both from a product perspective, a safety perspective, a future advancement perspective, you just lose.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're able to work with so many incredible brands is that we are just clearly ahead from a product perspective. But, even our team uses things like Cursor now to significantly increase um, engineering capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Even down to things like meeting notes, customer success, things in our dashboard. You can get a real picture on Instant just by clicking an AI summary in our dashboard, which shows
Wow.
you all the results of Instant in a very summarized way.
Do you look for when you're hiring team members across all spots, from HR to marketing to finance, do you look for people who are using AI in interesting ways too?
Definitely. If you're not using AI today, I mean, you're behind no matter where you are.
Yeah.
I think it's a fine line between using AI to advance your business or advance your personal ability and using AI to be lazy, though.
Yeah, totally.
Like AI is
You know
not.
what's crazy is half the country thinks that AI is the worst thing to man
Yeah.
because of that, which is crazy. I have never read. Maybe it's like the bubble I'm in. I've never read or consumed one piece of content where AI is looked at as negative.
But
But
AI
like,
isn't drafting, a shit email to
yeah,
your
no,
boss to tell
totally,
them how much you hate them or what's going wrong. Like that's just lazy.
right,
Like if it's something that is personal and needs a personal touch, don't rely on AI.
right,
Like I think that crafting an email shouldn't be left to AI. But maybe the collection of data or what to say in that email or to summarize the most important
totally,
points should be used in that email.
right,
But I think mostly AI in the world of business, whether you're a SaaS company or a D2C brand, should be focused on, all right, how are we using AI to actually drive revenue?
yep,
Do we really sure, let's use AI to save time. Let's use AI to do customer support. Let's use AI to do the basics. But that's just common practice now.
yeah,
You need to be finding ways to use AI that actually moves the needle on your business. And moving the needle, in my mind, is driving revenue and driving profitability. not saving time in the warehouse.
Yep.
That's the real. If you can crack figuring out how to use AI to actually move your business forward, you win.
Amazing. Well, Liam, thank you for coming up on Limited Supply again. We'll have to do this again.
Thanks for having me on, Nick.
When we hear more about what you're doing on the AI side.
Thanks for having me.